Not all quiet people are shy. Some are quietly winning. At first glance, silence can appear as a sign of passivity, a lack of confidence, or even indecision. Yet for those who understand the subtleties of human behavior, silence is anything but weakness. It is a deliberate choice, a strategic pause that allows thought to take precedence over reaction. In a world where noise often dominates attention, the quiet thinker has an unseen advantage: the ability to observe, process, and anticipate. What looks like inactivity can, in reality, be preparation in its most potent form. The power of silence begins with observation. While others speak and act impulsively, quiet thinkers watch closely, noticing details that often escape the attention of those who are louder or more expressive. They see patterns in behavior, detect inconsistencies, and sense underlying motives. This ability to quietly absorb information gives them a clarity that others lack. It is a form of strategic insight. By listening more than speaking, they gather knowledge, gauge reactions, and form calculated responses. Machiavelli himself emphasized the value of careful observation in understanding power dynamics, suggesting that a measured approach often wins where impulsive action fails. Reflection is another essential element of strategic silence. Quiet thinkers use their stillness to evaluate situations and consider multiple possibilities before acting. This introspection allows them to weigh risks, anticipate consequences, and plan their moves carefully. Unlike those who act without foresight, the silent mind has the space to think several steps ahead, like a chess player surveying the entire board before deciding the next move. Silence, in this sense, is an active state of preparation. It is thinking in motion without unnecessary expression. Not all quiet people are shy. Some are quietly winning. At first glance, silence can appear as a sign of passivity, a lack of confidence, or even indecision. Yet for those who understand the subtleties of human behavior, silence is anything but weakness. It is a deliberate choice, a strategic pause that allows thought to take precedence over reaction. In a world where noise often dominates attention, the quiet thinker has an unseen advantage: the ability to observe, process, and anticipate. What looks like inactivity can, in reality, be preparation in its most potent form. The power of silence begins with observation. While others speak and act impulsively, quiet thinkers watch closely, noticing details that often escape the attention of those who are louder or more expressive. They see patterns in behavior, detect inconsistencies, and sense underlying motives. This ability to quietly absorb information gives them a clarity that others lack. It is a form of strategic insight. By listening more than speaking, they gather knowledge, gauge reactions, and form calculated responses. Machiavelli himself emphasized the value of careful observation in understanding power dynamics, suggesting that a measured approach often wins where impulsive action fails. Reflection is another essential element of strategic silence. Quiet thinkers use their stillness to evaluate situations and consider multiple possibilities before acting. This introspection allows them to weigh risks, anticipate consequences, and plan their moves carefully. Unlike those who act without foresight, the silent mind has the space to think several steps ahead, like a chess player surveying the entire board before deciding the next move. Silence, in this sense, is an active state of preparation. It is thinking in motion without unnecessary expression. Anticipation naturally follows from observation and reflection. By remaining quiet, individuals can predict reactions, understand hidden motives, and position themselves advantageously. They are not reactive. They are proactive, choosing when to act and when to hold back. This restraint can be intimidating to others because the quiet thinker maintains control over the pace and direction of interactions. In social or professional situations, silence conveys thoughtfulness, authority, and composure. It signals that the individual is not easily swayed and that actions will be deliberate and meaningful. Ultimately, silence is a tool, a deliberate strategy that gives quiet thinkers an edge over those who rush to speak or act. It is not emptiness. It is preparation, a way to gather insight, reflect on meaning, and anticipate outcomes. By embracing quietness, one cultivates strength that is often invisible but profoundly effective. For the viewer, the lesson is clear. Do not underestimate the silent individual. Behind quiet composure lies observation, reflection, and strategic mastery. And in understanding this, we begin to see the hidden power that quiet thinkers wield in every interaction. The eyes that watch quietly see more than the mouths that speak loudly. Observation is often overlooked in a world that rewards action and expression over attentiveness. Yet, for quiet thinkers, this skill is a primary source of influence and power. By paying close attention to behavior, tone, and subtle gestures, they gather insights that others miss entirely. Every word, every pause, every facial expression becomes data, a clue to intentions, desires, and potential outcomes. In this way, observation transforms from a passive act into a deliberate, tactical advantage. Success is often invisible to those who talk too much. Loud individuals frequently rely on charm or assertiveness to achieve results. But without careful observation, their actions can be misaligned with reality. Quiet thinkers, on the other hand, move with precision, guided by the knowledge they acquire through careful watching. Historical examples abound. Leaders who understood the nuances of human behavior, generals who studied their opponents in silence, and negotiators who listened more than they spoke often emerged victorious. Their secret was not in what they said, but in what they noticed, what they remembered, and how they interpreted it. Observation allows quiet thinkers to detect patterns that others fail to see. Repeated behaviors, subtle reactions, and inconsistencies provide insights into motivations and likely future actions. By recognizing these patterns, they can anticipate outcomes before others even realize what is happening. In personal relationships, this can mean understanding unspoken tensions or opportunities for connection. In professional contexts, it allows strategic planning, negotiation leverage, and a better grasp of team dynamics. The ability to predict outcomes is not a matter of intuition alone. It is built on consistent, careful observation. Quiet observation also fosters patience. By focusing on watching and understanding rather than immediately reacting, quiet thinkers create space to make better decisions. They avoid the errors that come from impulsive action or overconfidence. In social situations, the observed cues provide a roadmap for how to engage, when to speak, and when to wait. This patient attentiveness allows quiet individuals to navigate complex environments with confidence and clarity. Ultimately, observation is the foundation of every strategic move. It turns silence into power, reflection into insight, and awareness into advantage. For viewers, the lesson is clear. Attentiveness is not passive or incidental. It is an active, cultivated skill that can dramatically improve decision-making, relationships, and long-term success. By practicing observation in daily life, individuals can uncover hidden patterns, anticipate reactions, and act with precision. The quiet mind sees what others overlook, and in that space lies an enduring advantage, proving that the most powerful influence is often the one you cannot immediately detect. The space between thought and action can decide your destiny. Quiet thinkers understand that immediate reaction is rarely the most effective response. In a culture that rewards speed and impulsivity, the act of pausing may seem counterintuitive, even inefficient. Yet, this deliberate hesitation is one of the most powerful tools a strategic mind can wield. By taking a moment before speaking or acting, quiet individuals allow themselves to process information, evaluate options, and anticipate consequences. This pause is not weakness. It is preparation, a conscious decision to act with clarity rather than impulse. Rushing often leads to errors. Loud voices dominate conversations, meetings, and social spaces, yet their speed frequently masks mistakes. By contrast, quiet thinkers use the pause to avoid these pitfalls. They weigh risks, consider the potential impact on relationships, and recognize subtle cues that might influence the outcome. This reflective practice creates a buffer between instinct and decision, allowing insight to guide action. Philosophers and strategists alike, from Machiavelli to modern thinkers, emphasize that measured timing frequently determines success or failure, not mere enthusiasm or vocal confidence. Patience, in this sense, becomes a form of power. It demonstrates control over oneself and the environment, signaling to others that the quiet thinker is deliberate, observant, and not easily swayed. This restraint cultivates respect and authority, even when it is not overtly displayed. Those who pause strategically are less likely to be manipulated or rushed into unfavorable decisions. They cultivate influence not through force or volume, but through timing, foresight, and intentionality. In essence, patience amplifies presence without needing to fill space with sound or action. The strategic pause also fosters adaptability. By allowing time to reflect, quiet thinkers can adjust plans in real time, respond to unexpected developments, and make choices aligned with long-term goals. This flexibility contrasts sharply with impulsive behavior, which often locks individuals into reactive patterns that benefit others more than themselves. The pause enables the quiet thinker to navigate uncertainty with composure, turning potential chaos into an advantage. Sometimes saying nothing is the loudest statement of all. In negotiations, social interactions, and professional situations, the act of restraint can be more influential than any spoken argument. Silence commands attention, invites curiosity, and signals that the individual is fully aware of the dynamics at play. For viewers, the takeaway is profound. Thinking first and acting second is not hesitation. It is mastery. By embracing the strategic pause, quiet thinkers gain clarity, control, and the capacity to act in ways that maximize influence while minimizing unnecessary risk. Ultimately, the strategic pause transforms patience into power. It elevates observation into insight and reflection into decisive action. The quiet mind, by mastering the interval between thought and expression, becomes capable of navigating complex social, professional, and personal landscapes with precision. This deliberate restraint is not only a defensive measure, it is a foundation for long-term advantage, showing that sometimes the greatest power lies in waiting, listening, and choosing the moment to act. Your mind is your most powerful asset. Learn to harness it. Quiet thinkers understand that before influencing the outside world, one must first understand the inner landscape of thoughts, emotions, and motivations. Introspection is not merely self-reflection for its own sake. It is an active process of examining one's own mental patterns, beliefs, and responses. By turning attention inward, quiet individuals gain clarity, awareness, and a level of self-mastery that cannot be achieved through external observation alone. In a chaotic world, the ability to understand oneself provides a strategic advantage that is both subtle and profound. Those who look inward are best prepared for the outside world. By regularly engaging in introspection, quiet thinkers learn to recognize biases, identify recurring emotional triggers, and understand how their own perceptions shape their decisions. This self-awareness allows them to act with intention rather than habit. In professional environments, this translates to smarter decision-making, better leadership, and more effective communication. In social situations, introspection enhances empathy, enabling quiet thinkers to respond thoughtfully rather than reactively. The practice of self-reflection transforms internal understanding into external effectiveness. Reflection is the quiet path to strategic clarity. Quiet thinkers often spend time analyzing past experiences, considering alternative outcomes, and planning future actions with deliberation. This reflective process is a form of mental rehearsal, where potential scenarios are tested in thought before being executed in reality. Philosophical traditions, from Stoicism to Machiavellian strategy, emphasize the importance of understanding one's mind as the foundation for navigating uncertainty and complexity. By cultivating insight internally, quiet thinkers create a mental advantage that becomes visible in their calm, purposeful, and effective external actions. Introspection also strengthens emotional intelligence. By observing one's own feelings without judgment, quiet thinkers develop the ability to regulate emotional responses and respond thoughtfully to others. This self-regulation fosters composure under pressure, resilience in the face of challenges, and the capacity to make decisions that balance logic and empathy. Emotional awareness is not passive. It is an actionable tool that improves relationships, negotiation outcomes, and social influence. The quiet mind, aware of its own tendencies, can choose responses that others, guided by impulse alone, often miss. Ultimately, introspection transforms silence from a simple trait into a strategic skill. By dedicating time to examine thoughts, emotions, and motivations, quiet thinkers cultivate the insight required to act effectively in the world. They understand that influence begins within and that personal mastery precedes external mastery. For viewers, the lesson is clear. Reflection is not idleness, it is preparation. It sharpens judgment, fosters clarity, and builds the confidence to navigate complex social, professional, and personal landscapes. In embracing introspection, quiet thinkers convert inner awareness into lasting power, showing that the strength of the mind can quietly shape the outcomes of life itself. Master yourself before attempting to master the world. Quiet thinkers understand that true influence begins with the control of one's own emotions. Emotions, when unchecked, can cloud judgment, provoke impulsive decisions, and create unnecessary conflict. By cultivating emotional mastery, quiet individuals transform what might appear to others as passivity into a source of deliberate strength. This is not about suppressing feelings, but about recognizing them, understanding their origin, and choosing how, or whether, to act on them. In doing so, they maintain clarity, composure, and strategic advantage in situations that might overwhelm others. Calmness in chaos is often a silent power. In high-pressure environments, whether in the workplace, negotiations, or personal relationships, those who act impulsively often compromise outcomes. Quiet thinkers, by contrast, use emotional regulation to navigate challenges with precision. They respond thoughtfully rather than reactively, carefully considering the impact of their words and actions. By controlling their own responses, they shape the dynamics around them, influencing others without overt force. Machiavelli's insights into power highlight this principle. The ability to remain composed under pressure is a hallmark of enduring influence. Those who control their emotions control the outcome. Emotional mastery allows quiet thinkers to assess situations objectively, identify opportunities, and avoid traps set by others' manipulations or provocations. By recognizing emotional triggers, they prevent themselves from being swayed by anger, fear, or ego. This discipline not only protects their own interests, but also signals reliability and steadiness to those around them. People naturally gravitate toward calm, consistent presence, which strengthens trust, respect, and authority. Emotional mastery becomes a subtle form of power, silently shaping relationships and decisions. Developing this skill requires consistent practice. Quiet thinkers engage in self-reflection, mindfulness, and deliberate observation of their emotional patterns. They learn to pause before reacting, to examine the source of discomfort or agitation, and to respond in ways aligned with their goals rather than impulses. Over time, this creates a feedback loop. Controlled emotions lead to better decisions lead to more favorable outcomes, and positive outcomes reinforce confidence in one's ability to maintain composure. This cycle deepens both self-mastery and external influence. Ultimately, emotional mastery transforms the quiet thinker from a passive observer into an active strategist. It turns inner calm into actionable power, guiding behavior, strengthening judgment, and enhancing interpersonal effectiveness. Viewers are encouraged to see emotional control not as a limitation, but as a deliberate, practical skill essential for long-term success. By mastering their inner world, quiet thinkers gain the freedom to act with intention and precision in every interaction, decision, and challenge. Emotional mastery is the silent engine behind influence, strategic thinking, and the enduring strength of the calm, reflective mind. Listen more than you speak, and you will always learn more than others. Quiet thinkers understand that listening is not merely a polite social habit. It is a deliberate, tactical skill that provides insight and influence. While many rush to respond, dominate conversations, or seek attention, the quiet mind prioritizes understanding. Every word spoken, every hesitation, and even every unspoken cue becomes information to be analyzed. By focusing on both what is said and what is withheld, quiet thinkers gain a clarity of perception that allows them to navigate complex social and professional landscapes with confidence. The world whispers its secrets to those who pay attention. In meetings, negotiations, or casual conversations, subtle clues reveal priorities, fears, and intentions. A quiet observer can detect inconsistencies in tone, shifts in body language, and patterns in speech that others overlook. These observations are not passive, they are active data gathering. By compiling small pieces of information, the quiet thinker can predict behavior, anticipate challenges, and identify opportunities. Listening, in this sense, becomes a form of preparation, a way to act with precision rather than impulsivity. Power follows those who first understand before reacting. Those who speak first often reveal more than they realize, while those who listen first maintain control over their own actions. In negotiations, for example, a person who listens carefully can sense weaknesses, adjust their approach, and guide the conversation toward favorable outcomes. In social dynamics, listening enables the quiet thinker to build trust and rapport, as people naturally respond positively when they feel truly heard. This active attention transforms listening from a passive habit into a strategic advantage. Quiet thinkers also recognize the emotional and psychological layers hidden in communication. Beyond words, listening allows them to perceive frustrations, desires, and unspoken needs. By interpreting these subtleties, they respond in ways that influence behavior without overt force. In personal growth, this skill reinforces patience and reflection, as understanding others' perspectives often prompts reevaluation of one's own assumptions and strategies. Listening, then, is not only tactical, it is deeply integrative, linking social insight with self-awareness. Ultimately, listening as a tactical skill demonstrates that influence does not always require speech. The quiet thinker's strength lies in their ability to gather information, observe patterns, and act deliberately when the moment is right. For viewers, the lesson is empowering. Attentiveness is a choice, a skill that can be cultivated intentionally. By listening carefully, individuals gain insight, develop strategic clarity, and build influence in ways that those who rely on volume and speed can rarely match. In embracing the art of listening, the quiet mind converts observation into power, patience into advantage, and presence into subtle but decisive influence. People reveal more in their silence than in their speech. Quiet thinkers have a unique ability to decode the subtle signals that others often overlook. In any social interaction, words are only part of the story. Body language, tone of voice, micro-expressions, and even the timing of pauses carry meaning. By paying careful attention to these details, quiet individuals gain insight into true intentions, unspoken desires, and hidden anxieties. This awareness allows them to anticipate reactions, navigate conversations skillfully, and respond in ways that maintain influence without unnecessary confrontation. Understanding motives comes from attention, not talking. Many people assume that influence is gained by speaking more, asserting dominance, or pushing opinions. Quiet thinkers take the opposite approach. They observe, listen, and analyze. By focusing on what others do rather than what they say, they can identify patterns of behavior and predict likely outcomes. In the workplace, this might mean recognizing which colleagues are genuinely committed to a project versus those seeking personal advantage. In friendships, it can reveal hidden dynamics or unspoken tensions. In high-stakes negotiations or strategic situations, these observations become actionable intelligence. Quiet minds see the hidden game everyone else is playing. Social interactions are rarely as simple as they appear. People often operate with hidden agendas or subconscious biases that shape their behavior. By reading beyond the surface, quiet thinkers can identify these patterns, giving them a tactical advantage. They understand when to speak, when to withhold, and how to guide interactions toward mutually beneficial outcomes. This subtle mastery is not manipulative in a negative sense. Rather, it is a form of strategic awareness that allows the quiet thinker to navigate complex social landscapes effectively. Cultivating this skill requires patience, focus, and mindfulness. Quiet thinkers develop the habit of observing without judgment, noticing details others dismiss, and integrating this knowledge over time. They recognize that understanding people is an ongoing process, not a one-time achievement. By staying attentive, they build a mental map of social relationships, power dynamics, and behavioral tendencies. This map informs decisions and actions, enabling quiet thinkers to act with precision and confidence in any social setting. Ultimately, reading people beyond words transforms social awareness into a strategic advantage. It allows quiet thinkers to decode hidden motives, anticipate outcomes, and operate effectively within complex networks. For viewers, the lesson is empowering. By training attention and cultivating mindfulness, anyone can improve their understanding of the people around them. The quiet mind observes where others react, predicts where others stumble, and discovers opportunities hidden in plain sight. Social insight, derived from patience and observation, becomes a powerful tool for influence, connection, and personal success, showing that sometimes the most profound understanding comes from listening, watching, and thinking before acting. Influence isn't always loud, it's often invisible. Quiet thinkers understand that power does not always require overt control or aggressive action. Instead, they leverage subtlety, empathy, and timing to guide outcomes in ways that others may not even notice. By observing carefully and understanding the needs, desires, and motivations of those around them, quiet individuals can shape decisions, steer conversations, and achieve goals without the need for confrontation. Their influence is indirect, but often more enduring than the forceful tactics employed by those who dominate through volume or authority. The quiet pull shapes decisions while others shout. Unlike individuals who rely on assertiveness or pressure, quiet thinkers exercise influence with a light touch. They understand the art of suggestion, framing ideas in ways that allow others to feel ownership of choices while still moving toward desired outcomes. In professional settings, this might mean guiding team decisions without taking credit overtly or mentoring others in a way that encourages compliance naturally. In personal relationships, subtle influence fosters trust and cooperation rather than resistance. The strategic advantage lies in creating alignment without provoking defensiveness. Master subtlety, and you master outcomes. Machiavelli emphasized that those who understand the dynamics of human nature can control situations through perception and timing rather than brute force. Quiet thinkers embody this principle, using insight into psychology, social cues, and individual motivations to nudge situations in their favor. They recognize that overt pressure often triggers counteraction, whereas subtle influence cultivates willingness, cooperation, and respect. By understanding the mechanics of persuasion, quiet minds achieve results that louder, more aggressive approaches frequently fail to secure. Empathy and observation are central to this process. Quiet thinkers pay attention not only to what is said, but also to what remains unsaid. They notice hesitations, emotional reactions, and the subtleties of body language, using these clues to anticipate responses and adapt their approach. This careful calibration allows them to communicate effectively without dominating, ensuring that their suggestions resonate with others' values and goals. Over time, this builds credibility, trust, and soft authority, all of which compound into significant influence. Ultimately, the art of subtle influence demonstrates that quiet thinking is not passive. It is a deliberate, strategic approach to shaping outcomes. By mastering empathy, timing, and perceptive insight, quiet individuals navigate social, professional, and personal environments with precision. For viewers, the lesson is both empowering and practical. Influence is an art that can be cultivated through observation, reflection, and thoughtful action. The quiet mind, through subtle guidance and careful timing, can achieve outcomes that loud voices often cannot, proving that true mastery lies in understanding, patience, and the power of gentle persuasion. Not every fight is worth joining. Choose your battles wisely. Quiet thinkers understand that social environments, whether at work, among friends, or in broader networks, are full of traps and subtle manipulations. Gossip, peer pressure, and impulsive conflicts often derail those who act without reflection. By remaining observant, patient, and emotionally grounded, quiet individuals navigate these hazards with composure. They recognize that avoiding unnecessary confrontation is not weakness, but a strategic choice that preserves energy, reputation, and influence for situations that truly matter. Quiet awareness shields you from unseen dangers. By maintaining emotional control and attentiveness, quiet thinkers can detect hidden agendas, subtle provocations, or manipulative behavior. They notice inconsistencies between words and actions, identify patterns of exploitation, and anticipate consequences before becoming entangled. This vigilance allows them to respond intentionally rather than reactively. In professional environments, This might mean sidestepping office politics, avoiding conflicts that could harm career growth, or recognizing the motives behind colleagues' requests. Socially, it allows them to maintain healthy relationships while steering clear of toxic dynamics. Those who rush blindly often fall. Those who watch carefully rise. Impulsivity and the need for immediate action often lead people into unnecessary disputes, misunderstandings, or reputational damage. Quiet thinkers, in contrast, pause, observe, and evaluate before engaging. They selectively choose interactions and responses that align with long-term goals, ensuring that their energy is spent strategically. By doing so, they maintain control over social dynamics rather than being swept along by others' impulses. This disciplined approach allows them to rise above chaos, gaining credibility and respect without confrontation. Practical awareness reinforces confidence. Quiet thinkers actively cultivate the ability to read situations and assess risks, using insight to guide behavior. For example, avoiding gossip is not just a matter of silence. It involves discerning when conversations carry risk, maintaining composure, and redirecting discussions when necessary. Similarly, resisting peer pressure requires self-knowledge and emotional regulation, allowing the quiet individual to stay true to values and priorities. These skills are not passive. They are deliberate tools for protecting reputation, relationships, and personal power. Ultimately, avoiding social pitfalls is a demonstration of strategic wisdom. Quiet thinkers understand that influence, respect, and opportunity are best preserved through thoughtful observation and emotional awareness. For viewers, the lesson is both practical and empowering. Social intelligence is cultivated through patience, vigilance, and discernment. By navigating interactions carefully, avoiding unnecessary conflict, and responding with intention, individuals protect themselves while positioning for long-term success. Strategic silence and careful attention become shields, guiding the quiet thinker safely through the complexities of social and professional life, proving that often, the best power is exercised not through action, but through careful choice. Thinking ahead is the silent path to advantage. Quiet thinkers understand that immediate gratification rarely produces lasting results. Impulsive decisions, whether in career choices, finances, or personal relationships, may offer short-term satisfaction but often create long-term complications. By contrast, those who approach life with deliberate foresight and careful planning cultivate advantages that others fail to see. Patience, reflection, and strategic thinking are the hallmarks of the quiet mind, allowing them to anticipate challenges, prepare contingencies, and act at precisely the right moment. In this way, delayed action becomes a powerful tool for achieving meaningful outcomes. Impulse is loud, strategy whispers. In modern life, there is constant pressure to act quickly, to respond to opportunities, trends, or social expectations. Many people equate speed with competence, but quiet thinkers recognize that measured decisions often yield superior results. By evaluating potential consequences before acting, they reduce risk and optimize outcomes. For example, in career planning, taking time to assess opportunities, understand organizational dynamics, and align personal goals with broader objectives produces sustainable growth. In financial decisions, patience and research often result in more secure investments, while impulsive choices can lead to losses or setbacks. Those who plan quietly control tomorrow. Long-term thinking requires the ability to see beyond immediate circumstances and consider the broader trajectory of one's life. Quiet thinkers map out potential scenarios, evaluate risks, and develop strategies to navigate uncertainty. They recognize that not all battles need to be fought immediately, and that timing can be a decisive factor in success. By maintaining a calm, reflective mindset, they ensure that their actions are purposeful and aligned with their ultimate objectives. This patience and foresight transform ordinary decisions into strategic moves. The practice of long-term planning also cultivates resilience. When setbacks occur, the quiet thinker's foresight allows them to adapt without panic. They anticipate challenges, learn from past mistakes, and adjust their plans thoughtfully. In personal life, this translates to building strong relationships, maintaining health, and investing in growth opportunities. In professional contexts, it means developing skills, nurturing networks, and making decisions that pay off over months or years rather than days. By prioritizing long-term success over immediate satisfaction, quiet thinkers consistently position themselves ahead of those who act impulsively. Ultimately, long-term planning over impulse demonstrates that strategic thinking is not about speed or noise. It is about vision, discipline, and intentional action. For viewers, the takeaway is clear. Patience, reflection, and foresight are powerful tools that turn quiet consideration into lasting advantage. By embracing delayed gratification, forecasting risks, and acting with precision, individuals cultivate outperforms impulsive action. Pressure reveals who acts and who reacts. Quiet thinkers' opportunities minimize errors and gain control over their future. In a world dominated by reactive behavior, the quiet mind's ability to plan carefully becomes a decisive edge, proving that calm strategy consistently excel under stress because they have cultivated the ability to remain composed when others panic. High-pressure situations often provoke impulsive decisions, emotional overreactions, or hasty compromises. The quiet mind, however, approaches these moments with clarity and patience. By observing carefully, processing information, and considering multiple options before acting, they make choices that are rational, deliberate, and strategically sound. Calmness under pressure is not a passive trait. It is an active tool that allows the quiet thinker to outperform louder, more reactive individuals. A composed mind sees solutions others miss. In moments of urgency, people often focus on immediate problems rather than the broader context. Quiet thinkers maintain perspective, allowing them to identify solutions that balance short-term needs with long-term consequences. They analyze the situation from different angles, weigh risks and benefits, and anticipate possible reactions. This reflective approach reduces errors, increases effectiveness, and often turns crises into opportunities. Machiavelli himself emphasized that strategic patience and measured response are essential to navigating complex human dynamics, where impulsive action can easily backfire. Silence under stress is a secret weapon. While others raise their voices or rush to act, quiet thinkers use stillness to their advantage. The absence of immediate reaction can create a psychological edge, signaling confidence and control to those around them. In negotiations, leadership challenges, or personal conflicts, maintaining composure communicates authority without aggression. Others are more likely to reveal information, make concessions, or reveal weaknesses when faced with calm observation. This subtle influence allows the quiet thinker to guide outcomes even in tense, high-stakes environments. Handling pressure effectively also requires preparation and practice. Quiet thinkers cultivate resilience by anticipating stressful scenarios, reflecting on past experiences, and developing mental strategies to remain centered. Mindfulness, deliberate breathing, and structured reflection are tools they use to maintain focus when stakes are high. By rehearsing mental responses and maintaining awareness of emotional triggers, they prevent stress from dictating decisions. This preparation transforms pressure from a threat into a manageable and even advantageous situation. Ultimately, decision-making under pressure demonstrates that quiet thinking is not avoidance. It is strategic mastery. Calm, composed responses allow individuals to act with precision, minimize errors, and achieve outcomes that impulsive reactions often fail to secure. For viewers, the lesson is empowering. Pressure does not need to provoke panic. It can reveal opportunity for those who have cultivated observation, emotional control, and patience. The quiet thinker thrives not despite stress, but because they have learned to navigate it with discipline, insight, and strategic foresight, turning moments of tension into moments of lasting advantage. Risk without reflection is recklessness. Quiet thinkers recognize that every decision carries potential consequences, both visible and hidden. Acting impulsively may provide immediate gratification, but it often invites unnecessary loss or conflict. The strength of the quiet mind lies in its ability to pause, observe, and evaluate before committing. By assessing risks carefully, they can distinguish between opportunities worth pursuing and dangers best avoided. Silence is not hesitation. It is the vantage point from which clear, strategic judgment emerges, transforming uncertainty into a calculated advantage. Those who think first rarely pay the price for haste. Quiet thinkers approach risk with methodical consideration, examining variables that others might overlook. They weigh potential outcomes, anticipate responses from others, and evaluate both immediate and long-term consequences. In business, this may mean delaying investment until sufficient information is gathered. In personal life, it could mean withholding judgment until context is fully understood. By taking this measured approach, quiet thinkers minimize exposure to setbacks and maximize the likelihood of favorable outcomes. Observation and analysis become their allies, converting uncertainty into opportunity. Silence provides the vantage point to assess danger. In social, professional, or personal situations, the quiet mind watches patterns unfold before acting. They notice subtle cues, detect inconsistencies, and interpret intentions that remain invisible to those who act too quickly. By doing so, they can predict challenges, recognize hidden threats, and identify openings for advantage. Quiet thinkers are not immune to risk, but their ability to analyze situations deeply ensures that risk is managed intentionally rather than blindly endured. Their calm presence allows them to move decisively when the timing is optimal. Calculated action is both a philosophical and practical pursuit. Drawing from Machiavellian insights, quiet thinkers understand that strategic advantage often comes from timing, foresight, and understanding the consequences of each step. Acting without this awareness is dangerous. Acting with it is powerful. The ability to assess risk requires humility, patience, and self-awareness, qualities that quiet thinkers cultivate through reflection and observation. They recognize that success is rarely the result of bravado, but of careful judgment applied consistently. Ultimately, risk assessment exemplifies the quiet mind's power. By integrating observation, reflection, and foresight, quiet thinkers make decisions that are both safe and effective. Viewers are encouraged to see risk not as an inevitable gamble, but as a landscape to navigate intelligently. Silence, when paired with thoughtful analysis, provides the space needed to understand threats, seize opportunities, and act with precision. In a world dominated by reactive behavior, the ability to assess risk calmly becomes a defining advantage, demonstrating that strategic thinking and quiet observation often achieve results that loud action alone cannot. True leaders often lead without speaking loudly. Quiet thinkers understand that leadership is not about dominating a room with volume or authority. It is about influence, clarity, and respect. By observing carefully, listening attentively, and acting strategically, they guide others with subtlety and precision. Their leadership is not performative. It is intentional, consistent, and grounded in understanding the people and context around them. Quiet leaders inspire loyalty and trust because their actions demonstrate competence, thoughtfulness, and reliability, proving that calm presence can carry more weight than loud declarations. Influence comes from understanding, not domination. The quiet leader prioritizes comprehension over command, seeking to understand the motivations, needs, and perspectives of others. By doing so, they anticipate challenges, address concerns before they escalate, and create alignment toward shared goals. This approach encourages collaboration rather than compliance, fostering an environment where people follow willingly because they recognize insight, fairness, and intelligence in leadership. By leveraging observation and reflection, quiet thinkers guide without forcing, showing that influence is a product of understanding rather than imposition. Calm leadership inspires more than loud command. In high-pressure situations, quiet leaders remain composed, modeling the behavior they wish to see in others. Their calmness reassures, focuses, and motivates those around them. Unlike leaders who resort to shouting or coercion, quiet thinkers build authority through consistency and integrity. Their decisions are measured, their responses deliberate, and their presence stable. This creates trust, as followers feel secure under leadership that does not react impulsively or succumb to emotional extremes. Subtlety, patience, and clarity become tools that amplify authority naturally. Leading without loudness also requires strategic patience. Quiet thinkers know that influence is rarely instantaneous. They plant ideas thoughtfully, nurture relationships, and allow time for trust and understanding to develop. By guiding subtly, they create long-term impact that outlasts short bursts of attention or compliance. Leadership becomes less about immediate control and more about enduring influence, where respect is earned and decisions are made with foresight. This approach aligns with Machiavellian principles of strategy, where perception, timing, and thoughtful action matter more than force or showmanship. Ultimately, quiet leadership demonstrates that calmness is a powerful form of authority. By observing, listening, and acting with intention, quiet thinkers inspire trust, loyalty, and cooperation. Viewers are encouraged to see that leadership does not require volume or aggression. It requires insight, patience, and strategic thought. The quiet mind leverages subtlety, empathy, and deliberate action to guide others effectively, proving that influence and authority often grow strongest when exercised with restraint. Calm leadership is not absence of power. It is its most refined and enduring expression, showing that those who lead quietly can shape outcomes more profoundly than those who lead loudly.